Dust Spinoff 1. Epilogue. I didn't earn a single Eris, and my free service went up in smoke too. Sigh. In the end, I didn't reap any rewards from this. Those fellows have attempted kidnapping several times before, but they always end up releasing their victims in less than a day. The kidnapped girls weren't harmed, and were in fact treated like princesses, so those cases were never reported. On top of that, it seems like they had the backing of a powerful aristocrat, so the police have no intention of going public with this incident. Of course, that means there's no bounty for turning them in either. And the assassin-like guy that they hired ended up disappearing somewhere along the way. Well, as long as we never meet again, I guess it doesn't matter. That kind of inflexible person will probably see our confrontation as a fulfillment of his duty, so he shouldn't come after me. It's good to see that my friends are unharmed, but the only one who suffered any kind of loss was me. And here I thought you were a better person. You really are hopeless, aren't you? Lynn said in response to my grumbling as we sat at our usual places at the guild. She sounded exasperated, but it doesn't seem like she means it. Actually, I think I spotted a faint smile on her face. I'm thankful to you, Dust, but I should properly offer my thanks to the other two who were there. Taylor really is the model of a gentleman. That said, it'll only create problems if I were to introduce them to him. After all, one of them is a noble and the other one is a succubus. I know the girl, but who's the guy in the helmet, Dust? As a regular of the store like me, Keith is obviously aware of the true identity of lowly succubus. As for the helmeted bastard, I suppose I can tell him when we are in private. I'll tell you sometime later. Still, that cute girl is really amazing. I've never even heard of a spell that can control dreams. I wonder if she will teach me next time. Speaking of which, I made that sound like a special spell that only lowly succubus could use, didn't I? Lynn must never know her true identity. Only bad things lie down that path. Oh, how about letting her join our party? I'll be happy with another girl to talk to, and you are on good terms with her, right? Wait, that's... If we do that, her identity will definitely be exposed. We need to cut this off immediately. That's not a bad idea. Though, how did you get to know such a cute girl in the first place, Dust? You aren't blackmailing her or anything, are you? Of course not. It's just her workplace had an issue with a few thugs once, so I helped her resolve things, that's all. You're pretty useful when it comes to problems of that nature, huh? They seemed convinced by that, but for some reason, I don't really feel good about it. Still, it's not that big of a deal. Just bear with it. Never mind that, let's go pick up a quest before I actually commit some kind of crime. You're joking, but it's scary how believable it is. Of course it's a joke, well, mostly. My current net worth is negative. If I don't find a way to deal with it soon. If you have money issues, use this. Taylor slammed a full bag onto the table. Is this full of money? What are you planning? You beg for money every day, but the moment I actually give you money, you become suspicious? This is recompense from the guild. It's an apology for accidentally introducing a criminal into our party. Taylor jabbed his thumb over to the counter, and Luna offered us a deep bow upon meeting our gaze. It's supposed to be split up amongst us, but we'll give it all to you. You did save our lives, after all. I may not look like it, but I am thankful for that. Well, that's how it is. Seriously, this party sure can't be honest. It'd be really cool for me to reject this money, but my personal philosophy is not to refuse anything given to me. Thanks. Looks like there'd still be some money left even after I repaid my debts, so let's have a toast. What happened to all that talk about quests? Seriously, what am I going to do with you? I'll join you for today. Sounds good, let's drink till we drop. Sure. It'd make a good celebration for a reunion, so let's drink. Yeah, this is how friends should be. Sharing both joy and hardships is what friends ought to do. Alright, we're drinking till we drop. Bring out the beer. Seems like you made quite a bit of money. How about repaying what you owe moi? A white-gloved hand grasped the hand I was using to wave over the waitress. Who the hell is it that dares to get in the way just when things are going well? I looked up and saw a familiar face. Oh, Sir Vonir. Are you here to work again? The consultation corner he ran in the guild was a big hit. Is he here to set up shop again? That was the plan, but that won't be necessary now. Now then, we'll be taking the money for the magic item. What are you talking about? Didn't you say you'll give them to me for free? I believe I said I'll give you one magic item for free. Sir Vonir took the bag of gold and left a full ha ha ha. Your dark emotions are pretty delicious before leaving the guild. I completely forgot about it. Yeah, he did say he'll give me one magic item free of charge, right? My drinking money. I was too shocked to even try to stop Sir from leaving. I blankly gazed at my companions, and all of them patted me on the back in sympathy. Let's go accept a quest. Don't you all say that at the same time? God damn it. Why is it that money always ends up leaving me? Money just doesn't like you, it seems. Come on, let's go pick a quest. We'll go with you. We are friends, after all. Lin said, blushing slightly. Behind her, both Keith and Taylor nodded. Oh fine, guess I'll have to work for my money today. Ah right. Sir took away all of my money, so I won't be able to pay back the debts I have due today. Let's hurry up, accept a quest and get far away from the city. After quickly accepting a quest, we left the guild to be greeted by a bright, cloudless sky. The voices of the store owners trying to attract customers could be heard as well. The familiar faces of adventurers heading out of the city. The policeman who immediately perked up upon seeing my face. The day is so clear that it's starting to piss me off. Don't vent your anger on the weather. Sigh, and you were so cool on that night. I whipped my head around upon hearing Lin's whispered words. Seeing her give me a wide and impish smile, I felt my heart skip a beat. You were awake back then? Well, who knows? After giving me a vague answer, Lin happily skipped ahead. Taylor and Keith traded looks, shrugged, and chased after her. Seems like it'll be another rowdy and interesting day today. Short story 1, Observing Aqua. When I was in the Adventurers Guild, checking if there are any easy yet profitable quests like I usually do, I received a strange, off-the-record request from Kazuma. It seems like the guild regard him as the caretaker of his party, of sorts, so they've been making him clean up after their messes. And so, Kazuma wanted me to investigate exactly what his comrades get up to when he's not around. It's a request from a close friend whom I owe a lot to, and what's more, he even promised me an adequate reward, so I had no reason to refuse. In that case, let's investigate that Archpriest Aqua today. The next day, I was waiting in front of Kazuma's mansion for her to come out, but even after waiting till afternoon, it didn't seem like anyone was going to exit. The explosion girl and Lalatina left, but no one else is coming out of the mansion. Kazuma's inside too. What the hell are they doing? Hey, wait, don't tell me. When a boy and a girl are alone inside a house, it's obvious what they'll get up to. It's not like I'm envious of Kazuma, nor do I wish to peek in on an erotic scene. I'll just take a little peek to fulfill the request to watch over her for a day. I quietly entered the garden and approached a window with a view of the spacious room where the fireplace is. Thankfully, the window was slightly open, and I peeked inside through that gap. What's that? I was greeted by the sight of Kazuma's face, peeking from a strange object that looked like a combination of a futon and a desk. A blue-haired head could be seen on the other end. That must be Aqua. Come on, scoot over there a little more. It's too cramped here. I don't want to. Just get out. Don't you prefer to sit in front of the fireplace rather than under the kotatsu? Yes, but firewood eventually burns out, and with Megumin and darkness gone, there is no one to replenish it. Oh, Kazuma, why don't you do it instead? I refuse. I have no intention of leaving the kotatsu. I'll say it now, I'd rather spend my entire day lazing around here than move for you. You haven't changed at all. What would you do with yourself if you're still a hickey-need even after coming to another world? Come on, work hard for the sake of a goddess. Who are you calling a hickey-need? Anyway, didn't you say that you have an errand to run today? It's already past noon. Ah. Why didn't you say it sooner? My precious believers are waiting for me. She hurriedly jumped out of the heater thing they called kotatsu. I was planning to just head home if they were to stay inside all day. Oh well. I followed after Aqua as she left the mansion. She was humming a song as she headed out too. Hey wait, isn't this the meeting spot for the Axis cult? Aqua happily walked into the church of the infamous, troublemaking Axis cult. How's everyone doing? Oh, if it isn't Aqua-sama. Please, come this way. The tea and snacks will be here momentarily. What should we do today? How about scribbling Eris pads or chest on the side of the Eris church? What do you think? Why are the believers welcoming such a troublesome priest so warmly? She's even leaning back into her chair with a smile. She's being doted upon in much the same way that grandparents might dote on their grandchildren. I know that archpriests are highly respected, but even so, isn't this treatment a little odd? There might be something deeper to this. Bah, I don't really care. I don't really care to understand the thought process of the Axis cult. Afterwards, they were discovered just as they were about to scribble on the wall of the Eris church and ended up running away from both the Eris cultists and the police. I wondered why exactly I was doing this for a moment, before I remembered the reward that Kazuma promised me and resumed tailing her. After parting ways with the Axis cultists, she wandered over to the magic item shop that Sir Vonir was working at to sip tea and pick a fight. Aqua seems to be on bad terms with Sir Vonir, but despite causing so much trouble for the shopkeeper, she seems happy to have Aqua around. Come to think of it, I think I've heard that Union frequently comes to the shop. As the sun started setting, dyeing the town red, Aqua got up from her seat. It's already this late. Right, I'll head back then. Please come again, Aqua-sama. Don't ever come back. It's because you spoil her that she keeps coming back. Ignoring the curses flung at her from behind her back, Aqua hurried back home. I'm home. What's for dinner today? I'm starving. After returning home, she energetically said that to her party and settled herself into her spot at the dining table. There's no need for me to watch over her any longer. The only thing I gleaned from following her around all day is she's a girl who simply follows her own desires. And that's all there is to it. Short story 2, Observing Megumin. When I was in the Adventurers Guild, checking if there are any easy yet profitable quests like I usually do, I received a strange, off-the-record request from Kazuma. It seems like the guild regard him as the caretaker of his party, of sorts, so they've been making him clean up after their messes. And so, Kazuma wanted me to investigate exactly what his comrades get up to when he's not around. It's a request from a close friend whom I owe a lot to, and what's more, he even promised me an adequate reward, so I had no reason to refuse. In that case, let's investigate that explosion maniac today. She's a crimson demon like Yun. According to Sir Vonir, the Crimson Demons are a belligerent clan whose members are born with high mana. Just from their naming sense alone, you can tell that they are a clan with a unique sense of aesthetics. And in that sense, Megumin is considered to be a prodigy. And that reason is because, apart from explosion, she has no intention of learning any other spell. It seems like she usually drags Kazuma with her outside the city to cast explosion every day, but after he refused to accompany her on account of the recent cold weather, she has started making the trip with other people. It's only after you get used to hearing an explosion every day that you can call yourself a proper resident of Axel. Did I make you wait? I think it's about time that you stop doing such things. Today's companion is Yun. That'll never happen. Don't you know that I will die if I don't cast an explosion every day? I've never heard of such a thing. Still, whenever I carry you back recently, the residents of the town would welcome me with a kind gaze. Someone even told me thank you for your hard work the other day. It made me feel a little happy. Yun might be reluctant, but despite her frown, it seems like she's really happy to be relied upon by others. Instead of complaining, let's hurry up and go. Why are you ordering me? I'm the one who's accompanying you. Hey, did you hear me? Wait up. Despite her protests, Yun still ended up following Megumin outside the town. Rather than accompanying her, it's more like she couldn't refuse any requests. It always feels like if one were to kneel and beg her, she'd agree to anything no matter what it is. Following behind the two, we ended up arriving at a piece of barren land. To be more accurate, this place only became barren because of that explosion girl. I think that this place used to be a small forest. Now, not only was the soil exposed, but it even hosted more than a few craters. This place has become full of holes. You'll need to properly fill them up later, otherwise it'll cause people a lot of trouble. I'll let you handle that. I'm a very busy person. Just as Yun busied herself with filling the craters with magic, Megumin nonchalantly released her explosion and carved another crater into the landscape. Yun lifted the collapsed Megumin onto her back in a practiced manner and started complaining as she made their way back. When they reached town, Megumin seemed to have regained enough energy to walk by herself and climbed down from Yun's back. I fulfilled your request, so, as discussed, let us settle our duel right here. Even after losing so many times. You really don't learn, do you? So, what should we compete in today? That. We should settle this with magic, but Megumin only knows explosion, and she already used it for today, so that won't do. I already used my magic for today. I don't mean to brag, but I won't be of any help for the rest of the day. That's not something you should be proudly boasting about. What did you say? Say it again. Don't get angry. You've always been unable to read the mood, Yun, but doesn't it seem like it has gotten worse lately? It must be because of the bad influence of that friend you recently made. Yun clutched Megumin's clothes and tearfully denied it. Just who was that friend that they were referring to? Megumin is a childhood friend of Yun, so I can rule her out. Apart from her, the only people who have interacted with Yun recently would be Sir Vonir and that beautiful store owner. Did she end up making a new friend without me knowing? Seeing how desperately she's denying it, it must be a pretty nasty fellow. The two of them eventually decided on an eating contest, and Megumin ended up winning an overwhelming victory. It's hard to believe that she can eat that much with that petite figure of hers. Still, it doesn't seem like she has grown any. Afterwards, she chatted about something with the Axe's cult priest and Chris, but it doesn't seem like she troubled anyone today. She even released her explosion in a place where it wouldn't cause any trouble for the town. The only thing she troubled was a piece of barren ground. Yun said that doing so will cause troubles for others, but it doesn't seem like she means it, so that doesn't count. After a long day, Megumin finally went home. Yun seemed really lonely as she watched Megumin enter the mansion. Screw it, I suppose I can treat her to dinner. Short story 3, Observing Darkness. When I was in the Adventurers Guild, checking if there are any easy yet profitable quests like I usually do, I received a strange, off-the-record request from Kazuma. It seems like the guild regard him as the caretaker of his party, of sorts, so they've been making him clean up after their messes. And so, Kazuma wanted me to investigate exactly what his comrades get up to when he's not around. It's a request from a close friend whom I owe a lot to, and what's more, he even promised me an adequate reward, so I had no reason to refuse. In that case, let's investigate the Crusader Darkness. I did follow her in the past, but I was with someone else back then. Following her alone will make it easier for me to act. When I was observing Kazuma's mansion in the morning, I saw Darkness angrily throw open the door and stomp out. This is a waste of my time. I don't want to spend any more of it on a lazy bum like Kazuma. Wait, this is... Don't bother. You shouldn't concern yourself with that thing, Darkness. Don't worry, Megumin. I'll definitely drag him out to hunt monsters tomorrow, so just wait. With that, Megumin and Darkness angrily left the house. Looks like Kazuma refused to accompany them on a quest. Now that he has a large mansion and a huge pile of money, who would want to continue working such a dangerous job as an adventurer? I understand Kazuma's feelings extremely well. Darkness bid farewell to Megumin on the way, and headed towards the Adventurers Guild. I followed behind her and entered the guild. Giant frog subjugation, huh? Getting swallowed whole and covered in slime from head to toe. Isn't this just the perfect opponent? Why do Aqua and Megumin hate them so much? This is so unfair. I'm the only one who has yet to experience it. Darkness mumbled something to herself as she stared at the giant frog subjugation quest. After standing there for a while, it seems like she eventually acknowledged that she can't handle them by herself, and moved over to the counter to chat with Luna. Excuse me, I'm alone for today. Are there any adventurers who'd be able to team up with me? Teaming up with Darkness-san. Well, everyone seems to be pretty busy. Luna averted her gaze. She looked around at the seemingly free adventurers lazing around the guild, and every one of them hurriedly turned around. I have a job lined up after this. Oh no, it's already this late. Come to think of it, today's my little brother's birthday. I should hurry home. Oh dear, I seem to have drunk a few too many glasses. If only I weren't so drunk. Voices like that echoed throughout the guild. I understand how these people feel. Once you've partied up with Darkness once, you won't ever want to go through that ever again. Incapable of hitting any of her attacks, charging directly towards an enemy on sight, and, above all, a genuine pervert who'd charge into the path of even her ally spells. Only when Kazuma is in the party can those tendencies be somewhat controlled. Everyone seems pretty busy. Forget it then. Hearing Darkness's words, everyone present let out a sigh of relief. She might be top class as far as vanguards go, but if that vanguard were to charge directly into the midst of enemies without saying a word, it'd be better not to party with her. Afterwards, Darkness still wanted to accept the giant frog subjugation quest by herself, but Luna eventually talked her out of it. After reluctantly letting go of the matter, Darkness left the guild. She's standing there by herself. Just what is she doing? After coming to the village square, Darkness, for some unknown reason, simply stood there and gazed at the fountain. That kind of reminds me of someone. Don't tell me, does this girl have no friends too? Yunyun, who had become like my old friend lately, pretty much spends all of her time on her own. Whenever she has nothing to do, she would dumbly gaze upon the passers-by. Just like that. Apart from Kazuma's party and Chris, Darkness doesn't seem to interact much with anyone else. Kazuma's a pretty swell guy, so everyone gets along well with him. That self-proclaimed goddess is pretty popular too thanks to her party skills. Though no one is willing to party up with that explosion brat, she somehow seems to have quite a few people hanging around with her. She even followed me with a bunch of strange girls a while back. And Darkness. Well, she has her own duties apart from being an adventurer, so she should be pretty busy. I suppose it's fine. At the very least, she isn't as bad as Yunyun. Afterwards, Darkness started wandering around the city. For some strange reason, she seems to be purposely walking down some shady backstreets. Her eyes seem to be sparkling as she walked down the deserted streets, and she's excitedly panting with a flushed face. Nah, it's probably just my imagination. After pacing several times around the street in front of the strange shop, she headed back home with a dejected expression. Even though she didn't run into any incidents, today was still a tiring day. End of Dust Spinoff Volume 1. Aren't I a great side character?